Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we're going to play through the next part of HEXplore It, the Valley of the Dead King. Our heroes are all the way up in this city, one of two remaining cities on the board. Just 5 and 3 remain, as the Dead King has now taken over 1, 2, 3, 4 different cities. So 2 more to go for him, and we're trying to eventually run into him. If we want, we can actually force that to happen at any time by just getting close to him, but we also could just continue to power up, and that's kind of the fun balance of things. I'm thinking that in this episode we're going to continue to power up, but I got a funny feeling we're going to be pushing towards going after him in the next episode. We'll see how this one goes. So in the last episode, we ended off in the city, and I had not gone ahead and done the Dead King's turn yet. I wanted to wait until this video because I wanted your guys' feedback as to how we should spend our coin. That's right, we gained so much money for the Guardian, Clarissa, and for the Tempest, the Summoner. 73 on either side to spend, and I really didn't know what I should spend it on. So I gave it some thought, and I also looked at all of the feedback I received, and I've made my choices. So I totaled this up in advance to make this much quicker, but I'll tell you guys what I'm thinking of doing for the Guardian. The Guardian, I was focusing on, or thinking about, upgrading Cleave +1. So we're going to go from 5 to 6. For health over here, we're going to go from 17 to 19. Energy, we're going to go from 9 to 12. Explore, we're going to go from 4 until 7, or to 7. Survival, which is the one on the right here, number 3, is going to go up to 7 as well. Defend is going to go from 8 to 11. We're going to grab 2 luck stones from this particular city and 2 rations. Now the reason why I'm grabbing rations, and I may actually not even need to grab any rations, but I can carry up to 5, but if I carry those rations, I may only end up buying 1 of them because that's all I need to fill up. And really the only reason I'm doing that is just to carry some food for the Summoner, who actually does still require to eat food. So this will kind of help the Summoner out. So that's what I'm thinking, and I think that'll leave us with a few coins left over. So I'm going to go ahead off camera here. We're going to adjust all of the stats, fill in all the bards, so that we can get past that upgrade real quickly. But here's what it looks like beforehand. All right, and just like that, Clarissa is all scaled up. We've gone ahead and upgraded her. We've used all of our money, so we're going to go ahead and remove all 73 coins here. So we've sadly lost every penny we have, but it's totally worth it because we've upgraded Clarissa quite a bit. Now the one thing I didn't or wanted to show you is that I went from, instead of going up to 19, I went to 20 because I actually had some leftover coins in the end, because in order to fill up my rations I only need to spend a coin. I had a few more left over, and I had enough just to use 4 to bump my health up 1 more spot. Everything else has been bumped up as I mentioned, so that's really exciting. Clarissa is now all set, and I've also upgraded all the numbers that correlate to the different skills within each of the masteries for first and secondary. So now Clarissa is ready to go. We're going to move over next to the Summoner. The Summoner is right here, and this Summoner is going to go ahead and make a whole bunch of changes as well. She's going to have a whole bunch of upgrades happen for her, and it's going to start with the Phantom Strike. So the Phantom Strike here is going to go up by 3, so we're going to go to 14 on that one. Health up here is going to go from 14 to 16. Energy is going to go from 14 to 17. On my Explore, I'm going to go from 4 to 7. On my Survival, I'm going to go from 4 to 8. On Rations, I'm going to increase my rations a couple times to get myself to max 10 here, as well as getting rid of my starving condition as well. So the first time I go ahead and consume some rations, the starving will go away, and then I'll have to just go ahead and add up the rest of the rations and bulk that in. And the only other thing I want to grab, I think, will be a couple Handy Elixir. I want to grab the Handy Elixir, and the Handy Elixir is really good because it allows me to regenerate health and energy during combat, or I can even generate stuff outside of combat as well. It's a really handy thing. So I'm going to show you guys what that is because I think it's the first time we've bought this game. So right here, the Handy Elixir has a regen at 3 health and 3 energy for 3 combat rounds, or heal 6 health and energy outside of combat. It costs 3, but because we are in city number 3, we are in this encampment, we can purchase handy elixirs for 2 gold. So the great thing about that is I'm going to get to actually keep 1 gold back on my character. So I'll end up having 1 gold remaining at the very end thanks to that wonderful discount. All right, and just like that, the summoner has been taken care of. All the upgrades have been applied, as I talked about. The only thing I didn't mention is, again, well, I guess I did mention this, but starving has been taken care of. I filled up my rations. The money that we saved on buying the handy elixir, I used for more rations to get my rations all the way up. Of course, that means we're going to lose all of our coin. So we've spent 73 total in order to do this, which is a lot of money at the market, and as well as in town to ensure that we get all of our stats all the way up. So that's really cool. The summoner's ready to go, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into the Dead King's turn. So again, on the Dead King's turn, we need to associate a target for the Dead King, because in the last turn that he had, he actually took over this city number 4. So we're going to have to go ahead and roll to find out where he's going now. This is going to be a targeting exercise, so he can only go for a 3 or 5. Those are the only 2 options, so we basically got to keep rolling until he nails one. We got a 4, so we're going to just keep going. There's the 5. So it actually ends up being down here. So thankfully it's actually going to be away from us, which works in our benefit, I guess, in that we get a little bit extra time with him not around. He heads down this way and longest route. Plus we also get the chance to maybe mess around with some quests up here, so that could be a positive as well. The other thing we have to do now is the black market has to move, so let's go ahead and roll a die for that. I'll grab a new die. We're going to roll for, first off, its direction as to where it's going. It got a 5, so it looks like it's going to be going further away from us, probably heading off this way. Hopefully not too far. 2. Okay, so it hopped right over the quest and into the mountains. So it is getting kind of out of play, and it really doesn't matter for us too much anymore that we have no money anyway. So now what we're going to do is we're going to begin the first round. Okay, I've kind of located a quest that I really like the look of, and it's this one right here, the Explore quest. This is this one right here in the river area, as you can see. So it's just a few, maybe 4 hexes away from where we currently are. And it says, the Elven Council of the Wind are in search of an ancient elemental elder spirits who offer boons to those that seek to overthrow evil. They believe one resides near the banks of the river. See if you can locate the spirit. So the challenge is, of course, we're going to go ahead and try to get 3 successes on this one, which is actually quite high. But if we do get a critical success along the way, we're going to gain +1 on our first mastery, which is a plus. The cool thing is, as a challenge, you've located the spirit and can camp here. So if we go ahead and get those 3 successes, we can actually camp here next turn to attempt to commune with it. And if you commune with the spirit and you add up all the encounter or boss difficulty levels that the group has defeated. So again, we're going to be looking at things like this one here, like the Gray Slime. We did that one way earlier for 2, if I'm not mistaken. We did the Raiders, we did the Hag, we did so many different enemies. We are far past, the Raiders were worth 4 by themselves. We are way past 10 at this point in the playthrough, so I don't have to worry about actually adding those up right now. But if we actually complete this, then if we have a number 10 or greater, then it says that each hero is going to gain something to their first and second mastery, which is really cool. I believe it's just a boost. Yeah, it's a 2+ bonus to their first and secondary mastery, so that's for both characters. That's huge. That would really help out in combat, especially when we have to face off with the Dead King, making us even more powerful. So I think that's going to be what I go for. I was thinking about going for some of the bigger monsters around. There is one that's somewhat close to me here. It could be an option if we have time. But the Dead King is going to get here super fast because his movement now is 5. So he's going to be here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to be here and taking it over by the second turn when we're resting, basically. And then he's going to take 1 more chomp run straight over to the next city. So it's going to be tight. But I think we're going to go ahead and do this quest right here. I think this would be really cool. And of course, we also gain some power-up cards if we bring it back to a city as well, which is a plus. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that Explore quest and kind of beef ourselves up even further stats-wise. I think that's smart. And see where it lands us. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move. Now, again, as per normal with us, we have 3 movement. That is the most that we can go. We do have the reliable mounts. And if I remember correctly, I'm just going to double check here. Okay, so that's already factored in. We can move 3 cautiously, so 1, 2, 3. So sadly, we're not going to be able to move cautiously, so we'll have to move normal in order to get here in one turn. So we're going to move normal to get to here. So we're going to kind of head 1, 2, 3, 4 to this location. And then from here, we're going to be going ahead and rolling, and we're going to be rolling a green, blue, and yellow die. So we're going to roll this for all 3 of our characters, and we don't have to worry about the wandering effect of failing a green navigate check because we still have that wonderful astrolabe, which is saving us from wandering. So that's always good. Here's the Guardian's rolls. We got a 7, which is not very good, as 4 and a 10, but hey, thanks to our amazing upgrades on our skills, we actually passed these 2. We didn't pass the navigate, but that's the one we wanted to fail anyway. Come over here to the Summoner. The Summoner's going to go ahead and roll off, see what we get. Hey, another massive fail on the... Oh, actually, that's bad. So we didn't get the survival one. 8 and 2. So no hexes there, sadly. That's no good. We'll start off, I guess, with the navigates. We'll put those aside knowing that we're not going to wander. So we even though technically we actually passed that particular navigate, we're fine because only one person has to. Moving on, we've got gold. So I actually was 1 shy, and because we don't have the helpful commenter, he helped us out last time. He would have normally reduced that by 1, but sadly now we're not going to get that. But we're not going to get any gold on the Summoner. If we come over here to the Guardian, though, the Guardian actually passed with a 2, or sorry, with a 4, easily on the 7 check. So I'm going to gain 2 gold, and I'm going to double it because of our amazing enhancifier. So we're going to be up to 4 gold on the Guardian already. So I'm telling you that enhancifier comes in super handy. Now we're going to go for the survival checks. So we got a 7 here, which is an actual pass on this survival check. And if you do, we don't have to consume any food. Well, that's not too much to worry about because in this particular case, we don't need to consume any food with the Guardian ever again anyway. If I come over here, it's funny because the one I failed on is actually the only one that still needs to consume food, even though I tried really hard to avoid that. The other thing, guys, the reason why I bumped up my survival so high is because later on in the game, survival checks become more important as you fight bigger bosses, and especially the Dead King. So that's another reason. I wasn't doing it just to avoid food, but hey, it does come in handy. So we're going to go ahead here and we're going to have to consume some food. So we're going to consume 2 units of food down to 8. There we go. And we've got that all straightened away. And we have landed ourselves on top of a quest. So, because of that, we're going to have to go on to the next step. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be dealing with a circumstance because we did move normally. So we are going to be forced to go ahead and roll the hex die to find out what of the circumstances in the top row will be affecting us because we didn't stop our movement in a shrine or a city or a rune or anything like that. So here we go. We're getting a 3. So 3 is actually pleasant weather. That's nice. I wonder if it actually does anything for us. The weather is comfortable, and you're moving easier because of it. This card supersedes other ongoing nature circumstances. This has actually been a better card to get after the inclement weather because then it could have actually, well, gotten rid of it. Now we're going to get this first. This doesn't supersede anything because we don't have anything bad in here. The group gets a -2 bonus to navigate rolls. Oh, that's good. During the skill phase and may move 1 extra hex per turn. Ugh, I got this now when I could have moved cautiously. That would have helped me to move cautiously. Is it even matter for... I imagine that 1 extra hex would actually work for cautiously as well. This condition remains for 4 game turns. Okay, so we'll put this right here for pleasant weather. Something else we're going to have to deal with and continue to tick down as we go through the rounds. So it's got 4 rounds to be in play before it disappears. So it's a nice day out until at least another bad weather condition comes out and takes it over. We got an affliction here, distracted. So this is something that's going to happen if we roll a 3 later on. And now we're going to move into our quest. So we know we're on this particular location, so this is the quest we're actually dealing with, which is the Explore quest right here. So let's go ahead and see what happens. We need 3 successes in order to actually succeed at this. And so we need to get those first in order to move on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll for our successes. Now the first time I'm going to do this, I'm going to be rolling with the Guardian. I got a 7, so I got a pretty good chance of landing this. Odds are in my favor, but I probably jinxed myself already. No, I passed it. That's good. So we got it. So that's 1 success. So I'm just going to put a hex die here. Say we got 1 success on that one. And now the Tempest, our Summoner, is going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. We have a 7 here for the Explore. Please. Yes, another 3. So that's 2 successes Awesome. And now we just need one more, but that's all we can do this round. We have to wait until the next round to actually complete or try to get that third success. But hey, the odds are in our favor that it'll work out. So with that being said, we've now actually finished our event, and there's nothing else we can do. There is a challenge here that says you've located the spirit. Now this is only possible if you have completely done the Explore 3 successes. So you can see that this could actually take 3 full game rounds, because if I did as well as I did, you gain 2 on one round, potentially 1 on the next one, and then it says you've located the spirit and can camp here next turn. So 3 full rounds to just deal with this fully if you want to get all the benefits from it. It's kind of what I'm gunning for, because it really is nice to boost up my first masteries. They cost a lot now. They're up to like 6 gold each whenever I want to increase them through paying for it. So I think at this point what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and move the Dead King. We know the Dead King is moving here, so we're going to go ahead and roll. Actually, no, there's no rolling to be done, sorry. We're just going to go ahead and move the Dead King 5 spaces. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's well on his way and moving quite fast. On top of that, we're going to find out where the black market goes. So the direction is 3. So he's actually going to come south towards us. Hopefully, oh, not very far. So he's just moving to there. Okay. And there we go. There's the black market. And that's going to end this first round. And I think what we're going to do is roll right into the next one, of course, because we haven't played too long in this episode just yet. So we're going to go ahead and continue on. I really want to try to get this Explore quest resolved. Would be the best situation and best hope I can gain. So let's see what we can do here. If we sit still and camp, because that is an option. If we are to camp, we just have to roll our survival and explore die. We heal, which we don't really need. We heal health and energy. And we get -1 bonus to the rolls that we roll. And we can also discard circumstance you roll a turn. So let's do that. So we don't have to deal with any circumstance. And actually, you still have to roll for circumstance if you are not in a city, shrine, ruin, all that kind of thing. And we're not. Which is great, because if we get one of the bad ones, we can discard it, which would be perfect. So let's do that. We're going to camp. So by camping, we're going to have to go ahead now and roll the blue and yellow die for each of our heroes. So the Guardian is going to roll. We got a 3 and a 2. Those are fantastic rolls. Those are easy successes. And we got a -1 on both of those. So actually, technically, then we hit a hex with the 2. So I might as well just roll that over to make sure that we don't forget that. This 3 ends up becoming a 2. Actually, you know what? That doesn't, I think. Oh no, it is -1 for each of the rolls. So it is 2. Not that it matters. So we'll just leave this one as a 3. Getting all caught up in the fun of rolling my dice. So what did I just do there? Okay, so 7 and a 4. No point in dropping those down by 1, even though we can, because it won't give us a hex anyway. So there we go. There's our results, and it looks like we got a lot of passes here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to deal with the gold. So automatic success on the gold means 8 gold total. So we get 4 more on top of the 4 we already have. Normally you gain 2, but we times it by an extra 2 to make a total of 8 when you add it all up. And now we're going to come over here to this summoner, who's also, for the first time, at least in the last round or so, gained some gold. So that's awesome. We got some gold going for both of them. We're going to come over here. We got a hex. And the hex, what does it do for my Guardian? Probably not much. If you roll a hex, each hero regains 1 lost energy. We don't need that. Or you end any ongoing affliction. Too bad we don't have any going. So it's not going to help us. But we did succeed at this. We don't need it because we don't eat food anyway. The summoner, on the other hand, does eat food and rolled a 7, but has an 8, so I don't have to eat any food, which is fantastic. Things are getting a little easier for my heroes now, so that's good. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our circumstance. So this is where we get to roll and potentially discard something if we don't like it, because we chose to camp. I got a 1. 1 is mold. Sounds bad already. If you have... it must have happened while searching the cave. Mold is growing on your food and your water smells awfully foul. Each hero loses their entire food supply. Not happening, because we camped. We were sleeping. We never went into the cave. This game doesn't know what we actually did. No, that's what I'm going to say we did. Because we are able, when we camp, to discard a circumstance card. So, it's the one I'm getting rid of. And we got spoilage. Oh, it looks like this is... It's funny, because the game really wants me to lose all my food. So kind of it. Okay, so that is the end of the circumstance. We're going to move to the event, which is going after this again, trying to get successes. So again, we'll roll the Guardian. If we get this and we nail it 7 or lower, we have succeeded at this quest. And oh my gosh, we just failed that. That's embarrassing. So we got an 8 and we needed a 7, didn't happen. Here's the summoner's chance. The summoner has a 7 as well. Please, please, please. Yes, we got on the last roll. So we did get our 3 successes. So we have actually completed this quest. Now again, what we could do, if we want to, is we can sit here and camp next turn, the exact same thing we just did, to commune. And if we do, we'll gain automatically some extra bonuses. I don't see any reason not to do this. I really don't. It's tough because what we might be able to do is, what I'm hoping to do is get the +2, then we get to go back and we also get to get power cards at a city. The city we'd be gunning to go to is this one for sure. And we do have the pleasant weather into play still, so we could get there in 1 turn. The Dead King will be stuck here dealing with this for a turn. So he'll be here at the end of this turn taking the city. Then we'll move here, cash in our... Oh no, sorry, we'll camp here for a round. He's going to target the only city left. Then we're going to move to the city and cash in our stuff. And then he's going to start making his way up at a speed of 6. So we do have a little bit of time. So this might be the time to do this. So let's go for it. I think we got the time to do it. So we're going to choose to camp on the next turn. So this is really the end of the turn. I'm not going to do anything else. We are going to go ahead now and deal with the Dead King. So we know the Dead King is going to move 5. So the Dead King is going to 1-2. And bam, we have lost the 5th city. So the Dead King has now taken over this corner of the world. And we'll be there, ravaging that one. Whenever that happens, his movement also increases by 1. So now, if I can get this to erase, because it's been a 5 for a bit, it might be a little stubborn. There we go. And I do apologize, guys, about this. It might look like the residue is sticking on this thing. It's because I'm leaving it for days on end. So if you leave any dry erase marker sitting on a sheet like this for a long period of time, it takes a little bit of extra effort to get it off. So, but he's up to 6 movement now. That's a substantial amount. Basically, he's going to try to get to this city next time he tries to target in another round, and then he's going to start coming after us, and he's going to target us and probably get to us so fast, it's going to be crazy. The other thing we're going to do is move the black market, so we're going to roll for that. I might as well just use the same die I have out. A 5. A 5 is going to send this black market so far away we're probably never going to see it. It just continues to roam. Basically, he's really confused. He must have lost his map somewhere around here, and he's been going around in circles for a while. And now we're going to go ahead and tip down our pleasant weather because we lost a round of that. Now the bonus with that is it's really going to help us to get that extra move to move 4 cautiously back to the city later on. We'll have that still, so that's what I'm hoping. Okay, so that is the end of this particular round. We'll move into the next round. I'm simply camping, so I'm doing the exact same thing I did last time. We're rolling our blue and gold. And we're getting the -1 for them. So this is going to probably help us, I hope. Blue and gold. 3 and 3. Awesome. We're doing really good here. So didn't get any hexes, but gold-wise we just jumped again. So now I'm going from 8 to 12. This is really good because if we do get a chance to buy things in the city or upgrade when we get there, it's really going to help. We got a 3, so that's definitely a pass for the summoner. So the summoner is going to go up by 4. Again, with my magic erasing skills. We're up to 8. Okay. In terms of food consumption, don't need to worry about it. We passed. Doesn't matter anyway for him. And we passed over here for the summoner, so no need to consume any food. Awesome. We're done. Now what's going to happen is I'll take a quick look at this card because we did camp. Now we're going to have to do a circumstance still, but we can discard it. So maybe before I do this, before I resolve that, let's do the circumstance because that's what actually would be the next step. We got a 2. Please. There we go. Right when we didn't want it, but you know what the great thing about this is? This would have replaced the pleasant weather card, which would have stopped us from getting our 4 movement we need to get to the city. But thanks to the fact we camped, we are allowed to discard this card, and it would have caused a storm to come in, and we actually would have slowed down our movement. We would have got a skill penalty, flex all of our or any of our skill rolls. This condition remains for 4 game turns, but we get to discard it thanks to the fact we camp. And this is actually really good because look what it's doing. It's actually cycling the deck, and now we actually have an enemy in play. But you guys know what that means. We've actually got something that potentially could work as an entity against the Dead King later if it doesn't end up attacking us first. So that's cool. Okay, so with that in mind, that was the circumstance. Now we're going to go ahead with the event. So that's going to be this. So we've done the challenge. Let's see what the challenge says. Just make sure we fulfill it correctly. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna wait for this to, there we go. You've located the spirit and can camp here next turn, which we just did, to attempt to commune with it. If you do, add all encounter boss difficulty levels that the group has defeated into one pool. Now I've done this already. I already know it's over 10, so I'm not gonna bother adding it all up. If the number is 10 or greater, each hero gains a +2 bonus to their first or second. So it's a +2 bonus to their first or second, so I have to choose. That's okay though, because these are still really powerful. So I get to choose which of the two I want. Now, my understanding is, I think with the challenge you resolve it now? Or do I have to wait until I go to the city to get that? I'm going to assume because I camped here and it says that I talked to the spirit, that the spirit's doing it immediately. So I'm going to go ahead and take it right away. In terms of what I want here, probably reflected assault. I want to be able to do big time damage. So I'm going to bump up reflected assault to 16. Because I think it's really going to help to be able to reflect big boss hits back at the enemy, which will be awesome. And then over here for the summoner, I've got the summoning circle. Now the summoning circle, if I bump that up, what it's doing is it's allowing me to keep the summon for a longer duration for more rounds, which is really cool. Or I could go for invocation, which basically just pumps up my damage to an obscene amount. So that's the tough thing, is figuring out like how many rounds do I want the summon to be around for. It's debatable, it's tough. If I bump it up to 11 and you divide it in half, or I guess it's 11 divided in half is 5.5, and then you add 1 is 6.5, so you're talking about 6 to 7 rounds you're going to get of that particular summon. That's pretty good. Right now I'm getting 4.5, so about 5 rounds or so of the summon, so I don't know. It might be more tempting to go for the big time hit on damage. So I think I might do the damage. I think the damage just sounds better. I think I want to go damage. So I'm going to go knock this from a 14. What I'm doing is I'm preparing for like a massive attack against the Dead King is what I'm hoping for. So there we go. So I've dealt with this now. I'm going to flip this over because we don't get to cash the actual card in for its power cards until we get back to a city, which we're going to have to do now. But that is basically the end of the event phase. So now we're back to the Dead King again, and we know the Dead King needs to target something. There's only one city left. Then once this city is taken, all the cities are gone, and then we become a city and it comes after us. So that's it. He's targeted, he's acquired his target. The black market is going to roll to find out where it goes. It's a 3, which means it moves south. And oh, it's gonna move hex. Oh geez, that's 6. That's a lot. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It moved all the way down to the bottom here. It's a fairly aggressive movement. So he must have found his way after being lost for so long. Okay, so that's going to resolve that, and of course the pleasant weather is dropping down to 2, so we've lost a little bit there. And now we're going to go into the next round, and this round I'm going to head right back to the city. Now the cool thing is I have the advantage of pleasant weather, so we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to move cautiously. 3 plus the pleasant weather of 4 will get us 1, 2, 3, 4 back to the city. You know the Dead King's coming there anyway. Now that we're in a city, what do we want to do here? Now we're still going to have to, even though we move cautiously, we still have to roll blue and yellow. But when you are rolling for your survival, you get to, it gains a -2 bonus to navigate rolls. Okay, navigate rolls don't matter when you're doing cautious movement. And yes, that's not going to matter. Okay, so we're just going to be rolling the blue and the yellow. As per normal, we're back in the city, hoping to cash in. Okay, so I got a 9 to 2. So basically, this is going to turn into a. Actually, that stays as a 2 this time because I didn't camp, but I don't have to deal with anything for food. The 9 is a fail. I did not get that, so I don't get any gold. Come over here to the summoner, roll 2. We got a 4 and a 3. That's really good. So no food needed to consume, but we also gain some gold. So my gold is going to go from 4. That's good timing. So now actually all of our characters, or both of our characters I should say, are going into the city with 12 gold each, which isn't bad. Okay, coming back over here to the board, we are now in the city, and because we're in the city, we are going to skip past the event phase, or I shouldn't say, we're going to skip to the event phase. We're going to skip the circumstance, because when you're in a city, that's what happens. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cash in, and now the first thing we do in a city, if we want to, is we can go ahead, as you see, you can skip the circumstance, yep. The group may choose to pay 1 gold to heal. Don't need to. Heroes may purchase gear. Cool. And we complete and turn in all quests. So let's do that. Let's turn in this quest. So we're going to turn this quest in. We've already grabbed the challenge and successfully pulled the +2 on the mastery for those. But now we get 2 power cards each for each of our characters. So that's awesome. So let's do that right now. Let's find out what we got. So we're going to come over here to the power deck. We're going to pull 1 for the Guardian, then 1 for the Summoner. We'll go back and forth. Guardian gets both masteries +1. That's awesome. That's great. That's going to really beef him up. So, or her up. I keep saying him. So 50 to 16. So 16, 17 is the end result of that. 16, 17. She is a tank now. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to grab 1 for the Summoner. Health and energy. Awesome. That's really good because I really wanted to get my vitals up higher. So that's going to be 17, 18. 17, 18. That's awesome. Always love it when you get vital upgrades. It's a huge plus. Okay, going on to the next one. Both masteries +2. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. So the masteries on the Guardian are just going off the charts here. So 18 and 19 now. Holy, 18, 19. This is getting thoroughly aggressive. And then we're going to go ahead and we got +1 on defend. Defend's not as good for my Summoner as I would have won, but well, I guess Dimensional Shield is useful. So we'll bump it up to 11. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quick, guys, is because these things got adjusted based on this quest being turned in, which I'm not going to discard all the cards we just dealt with, including the quest card itself, I'm going to quickly take off the quest marker where we actually were, which I should have done from before. Replace that back here. We're going to pull a quest card. It's a quest arc, so draw 2 and place them on top of this card face down. So we got a quest arc card, which is cool, but we're definitely not going to have the time to do that. But at least it was cool to see one of them happen during the playthrough. So essentially, this quest arc, does this actually tell us where the first starts? Draw 2 additional, place them on top of the card, flip over the card on top to show your first. Oh, yes, right. We have to see the first one. So there it is. And it is E. I don't even know if E's out here yet. I don't think we have tile E. So it's a quest we couldn't have gotten or started anyway. We have to keep exploring off the map. So we're definitely not going to have time for that. But what I'm going to do in the meantime, guys, I'm going to update these stats because every time your masteries or basically your abilities change, they impact this section of the board, your player board. So I'm going to quickly go through them to make sure everything's all synced up. And then we're going to come right back to our city encounter. All right, and we're back, and the Guardian has been updated, so all of the stats that are over here on the left now correlate to all the stats that are in here, so everything adds up, and this is just going to make it easier when we start using these masteries later on to actually add up the totals and do some math in order to make it work. Coming over to the Summoner, exact same thing. Anything that changed over here is now updated over here, so the numbers match in certain areas. The cool thing about the game is it does have, which is really hard to see, but there's like a shadow of an emblem behind the numbers that tell you which numbers should pull over from the ability into it. That's really cool and helpful. Otherwise, it would be a lot of work. It's actually really fast, and I do it off camera in about 10 seconds. So what's really cool here is that we've kind of stopped at a spot where we are currently in a city. We have time to spend some money. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my Guardian's board. You can actually make out all the black indications around some of the different stats. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you guys to chime in, because what I want is I want your guys' feedback on what you think I should upgrade with 12 gold. Now 12 gold is not a lot, but based on my stats changing so much in this episode, I really want to be sure that I'm getting your feedback. Now, Vitals might be a good one, because if we're going to go up against anything that's, you know, high-powered, if we take lots of hits, we need to be able to sustain a lot of damage. We do have the ability with Angel Born to bring ourselves back from the dead, which is nice, but having high Vitals in the first place just avoids death altogether, which is a plus. Our masteries are off the charts now, for sure, on the Guardian. I think we've got these stats to where there are, you know, definitely odds are in our favor, for sure, when you're rolling on a 10-sided die of landing a success. But, I mean, there's always room to bump those up, but they're quite costly at 7 apiece now. So with 12, I want you guys to chime in with what you think the Guardian should do with her 12. We also have the classic market options, because we are in a city, so there's all these different options that we could potentially pick up that may or may not help us. So if there's anything here that you think might be worth grabbing, there is this one right here that's actually really interesting. I just noticed it. Fortification plants. Actually, this is a really cool one. Maybe this is worth talking about. So this one says, place the fortification token. I'm sorry about the, there we go. Place fortification token on any space you vacate after 3 game turns pass. This location becomes your fortress. Treat this location as if it were a city. You may buy items available on any market worth 8 gold or less. The fortification cannot be moved and is not targeted by the Dead King. If you battle an opponent in your fortress, the group may roll a single 10-sided die, which may hexplode, and apply it as extra damage to their opponent each round, only available once per game. This item may be used in combat by performing the defense action. Interesting. Very interesting. So we could actually spend 12 gold per hero. This is crazy. We actually have exactly the amount of gold we need. We got 12 on both heroes. We could potentially spend 12 gold and buy fortification plans. That's this symbol way up here, this emblem right here, this white one. And what we could do, guys, which would be really cool, I think, would we could actually go, okay, we know the Dead King. Well, we might as well go ahead and actually, I guess we could move the Dead King technically this turn. So let's do that. Well, let's not. Let's wait, because I want to see what you guys think about how we spend the gold first. But at the beginning of the next episode, we will decide how we're going to spend the 12 gold on each side of our characters. And of course, the summoner's got this in terms of a layout. So if there's anything here you think the summoner should be focusing on, I'm giving you a quick close-up of what's going on with the summoner, so you can see what the summoner's dealing with and what it would require to bump her stats up. But what I'm thinking now more so than anything is I'm looking at the fact that it's very, very possible, strategy-wise, that the Dead King could end up coming up here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and be like basically somewhere in this vicinity on the next turn heading towards us. What if we were to kind of go off the map a little, not go off the map, but just move a couple spaces over and then set up a fortification? Set up this fortification that apparently will give us the ability to almost fight from our own castle, which is really cool because it says after 3 game turns pass, this location becomes your fortress. Treat this location as if it were a city. You may buy items. The fortification cannot be moved and is not targeted by the Dead King. If you battle an opponent in your fortress, the group may roll a 10-sided die, which may explode. So basically, what it's saying is, we need to get the fortress kind of. Ooh, we might need to run away from him and set it up. I wonder how many turns we have. Technically, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He'll be there at the end of the next turn. We buy the plans from here. We head out somewhere far away. We likely move full speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We might even move recklessly just to get over. Although it's kind of dangerous because something bad can happen to us if we start playing around too much. But if we moved out here, he would actually take 1 turn to get to here, 2 turns to get to here, and then 3 turns to get to our fortification. And by the time he got to our fortification, I think it would actually be up and working. I'm just trying to think about the strategy in that. I know you guys, this is a little bit extra on the side. I didn't actually anticipate this, but I thought I would just kind of talk this through with you guys. I'm going to try to see if this actually makes sense. So he is here now. We know at the end of this current turn, if we buy those fortification plans, he is going to end his action here. Then what's going to end up happening is we are going to want to get out of there. So we'll get to here. We'll plant our fortification plans down. He will be here. On that same turn, he moves in, takes it over. The next turn, he targets us. But he doesn't put a token down, so he just knows where we are and he just comes after us right away. Meaning that's only 2 game rounds passing for him to get to us. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. The only way it would work is if we moved recklessly and ran so far past that he'd have to kind of chase us a little bit to get there. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys. This is a very interesting situation. Do we bother trying to run away from him so we can set a fortress up long enough to use a really cool die that could potentially help us? Or do we just kind of let him come to us? This is the point in the game where we just say, you know what, enough's enough running, come for us, let's have this final battle. And if it's just that, then let me know in the comments below how we should spend our 12 gold. So I'm going to leave this up to you guys. It's totally up to you. How should this end? Should it be in a fortress? you know, that may or may not really pan out. I may not even be able to get up in time. Or do we just stand our ground somewhere in this vicinity and just have a full epic battle with him? So let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. It looks like the next episode really is going to be the finale. So this is really exciting. Hopefully it's building up to a really exciting conclusion. And thank you guys for watching so far. In the next one, we'll deal with the money, we'll deal with the Dead King's turn, and then we will tick down, we'll also move the black market, and we'll go ahead and tick down the pleasant weather. So we'll handle all of that at the beginning of the next one. Thanks again for your support, everyone. And as always, keep on rolling solo.